when I was scrolling on your Twitter, I was doing a lot of research. I sound like such a stalker, but someone referred to you as the Taylor Swift of comedy, which I thought was hilarious.
Really?
Yeah, in regards to like breakups and boys, and I was like, oh, I want to interview the Taylor Swift of comedy.
I mean, I guess here's my thing too, because I also like talking about my personal life. I like talking about relationships. I think there's a lot of comedy to be found. And sometimes, my partner, the great thing is if you're dating a comic, they don't really have a choice for the most part, just sort of like your stuff's going to be out there a little bit publicly. You can have conversations about boundaries and let's not talk about this, or let's keep this for just us and this is private. But comics, if you're like a real comic, you kind of are like, no matter what, everything is okay, because my main purpose is to make people laugh.
Yeah.
So I'll exaggerate stuff. I will straight up fictionalize stuff for a laugh, just to make people laugh. Like, oh, I think my boyfriend choked me last night. Maybe I blacked out. I have a joke about Gary. I was like, what do I say? I'm like, I didn't drink during the quarantine, and and it's not true. Like, I haven't slept with Gary in what, over a year or two. But right now on stage, I have this joke where I'm like, I didn't drink during the quarantine because I'm also an alcoholic. But I go, but I did sleep with one MMA guy, because I miss blacking out so much. And then and the audience will either laugh like you did, because you're a normal
Uh,
human with a good sense of humor, or they'll be like in shock. And I'm like, what do you guys think? They just get that good? They have to practice.
I just feel like
And
that
I go,
joke was made for me. I'm an MMA fighter who's also an alcoholic, and so I'm just like, bah, ha, ha, ha.
perfect.
Like,
I'm like, I let him come in me. I was like, well, let's see if this kid's a fighter.
oh my God.
So like,
Oh, this is gold. This is gold. Like whoever
so
doesn't.
that's like one of my favorite jokes. And like the problem is when you're a comic, your timeline of what's real and what's, fictional, sort of, they don't always line up. Like I said, like I haven't banged, Gary in the longest, and like way before, but I say that on stage and maybe it gets back to a guy I just started seeing, or something, or maybe, he comes to a show, and sometimes it does present these problems where the audience isn't necessarily discerning, and if your personal life like spills over, it can just be challenging, put it that way.
Yeah, and I feel like the theme with all these women that I have on my podcast, it's like you really have to find a man or another woman, depending on what way you swing. I didn't ask you
Oh, it'd be
that.
so much easier, please, I wish.
But you have to find someone who's extremely secure with themselves or who can take a fucking joke,
Yep.
who can understand that, especially you, your profession, to get a laugh. So you're going to be extreme and, you're going to exaggerate, like you said. So it seems like dating comics would be the best thing for you. But then, God damn it, then, the competition, if you do
Yep.
better, it's like, oh, you can't fucking win. But so is the dating game.